afternoon. Welcome back to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. My name is Lo, representing sunny California. This is the way. This is a Chapter 5 review of Book of Boba Fett titled Return of the Mandalorian, and glorious return it was. Joining me as always from Philadelphia, we have my man who's a little bit under the weather, but we are always glad to see you, sir, Mr. Crockpot, aka Dives. How are you, sir?
I am dealing with COVID-19, so we tested positive here, but I'll never miss out on a time to talk Star Wars. The show must go on. This is the fucking way. Let's go, though. Cheers, brother.
Cheers. Drink up, rest up. Please get some sleep after this. Down below, we got our man, champ, trivia champ, Ryan Cam. How are you doing, my friend?
Representing, not so sunny lately, Florida. We've been getting a lot of rain and a lot of cold. I've literally woke up with ice on my car windows on Monday morning. I'm like, what world am I living in where this happens? But Dives, I hope you get better soon, man. I trust that you will, and I'm just very happy to be here.
Hey, we're always happy to see you, man. And look at this, guys. Cali, Philly, Florida, we have like a trifecta of Star Wars fandom here. And guys, what a time to be alive. F the haters. You know, there was a little bit of discourse online today, but you know what? If you don't like the show, don't watch it. Get out of here. We don't need you, because this show, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not my favorite show, but this episode is one of the best Star Wars TV moments. Like, it was up there with the finale of Mandalorian 2 and 1. It was such a well fleshed out episode that gave us like that itch of the Mandalorian. Like, Din Djarin is such an amazing character, and to kind of see a little bit of his journey in the Book of Boba Fett, I have no quarrel with. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett is in itself an extension of the Mandalorian. So to see Din Djarin back in full form, having a full episode to himself, if you don't like it, I am so sorry for you. But with that being said, I gotta get all that hyperbolic stuff out of the way. But honestly, it was really cool to see the Forger, and see that their clan is now down to 3. I loved seeing them again. I loved seeing that space station. It almost gave me some like Kubrick 2001 vibes. What's up, Darth Pooh? Hello, how you doing? I loved. Oh, forgive me, guys. Do you guys know her name? I freaking love that mechanic lady. Like, what is her name?
Armor. Emily something.
No. The lady that fixes his on Tatooine that always fixes.
Amy Sudeikis. Give me a second.
No, you're good. Anyways, she is fantastic. I love that character. I love that.
Kelly Moto.
There you go. Kelly Moto. I love that she is like a reoccurring character in this series, even going back to Mando, holding Grogu and stuff like that. And now she freaking presents Mando with a ship. And I don't want to get too deep into this episode, but I loved every single second of this. We saw some brief moments of the canyons where Anakin had his pod race. We got a freaking droid from the Jedi Fallen Order. I don't even play that game, but like, the references for fans were deep, and it wasn't just for fandom's sake. It made sense with the story, and at the very end of this episode, we're leading into this grand finale that we know is coming. I loved it, guys. I'm actually going to throw this to Ryan. I'm going to let you breathe a little bit, Dives. Ryan, what are your first impressions of this week's episode?
So usually I'm the optimist on these streams, but I'm of two minds on this episode. In a vacuum, I really liked it. I liked the action. I liked the Darksaber battle with the big Mandalorian and
big Mandalorian. Did we get his name? I don't think we got his name.
He's of House Vizsla, which we'll talk about that later too.
I liked that too. I was like, yo, okay.
I liked that battle. I liked the whole opening, and I'm just gonna call it the butcher shop, where Din just completely wastes that being like in his own back room. I liked that. I loved seeing Beggar's Canyon. I was like, Phantom Menace. That's Phantom Menace right there. But on the other hand, I had to keep reminding myself that this was the Book of Boba Fett, not the Book of Mandalorian. And not having Boba Fett in an episode of his own miniseries, I just don't know how to feel about that. I just feel like the creators are just like, we're doing this. And then people are like, we're lukewarm on it. It's like, oh, just run back to what people love. And now Grogu's going to be coming back. It just feels like they're stepping outside but remain very close to the box. So in a vacuum, I liked the episode, but I don't know how to feel about it in the grand scheme of things. I guess I'm just gonna have to marinate.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. And in a sense, it almost felt like Mando was like, "Hey, hold on, Boba," and he kind of hijacked the show real quick.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled like a Kanye West, like, "I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish, but let me show you what I'm doing right now." But you know what? That to me, that's just a small complaint for such a fun episode. Dives, I know you got thoughts. Hit us with it, man.
I love Tyler's comment. This was like season 3, the first great episode 1 of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Absolutely terrific. Darth Pooh says they pitched as Mando season 2.5. Yeah, man. I mean, I thought, for better or worse, this episode really highlighted, how much more of a compelling character Din is compared to Boba. I think the fact that this episode was so incredibly good just kind of like highlights, all the problems with the Book of Boba Fett here. I think this episode clearly had a different tone about it for the better than any of the other episodes so far in this series. I thought this episode had a bigger budget. Like, of all the Book of Boba Fett episodes combined, this was combined like a higher budget for anything we have seen so far in Boba Fett. There's a lot of really good news from this episode for me. Like, you kind of got a glimpse of where Mandalorian season 3 is going, and them deep diving into everything about Mandalore is going to be so freaking awesome. The other good news is that Boba's story is going to be just as a part of Mandalorian season 3. I don't think this is a one-off. Like, I think we're going to see more and more Boba, and I have some theories and predictions about where we're heading, not only for the last 2 episodes of Boba Fett, but for season 3 of The Mandalorian. I think they're setting up something pretty obvious right now. I thought we got confirmation that Grogu is coming back in that passenger seat. You saw that Naboo starfighter there. There's definitely a little cabin up there. I don't know if it's either going to be Grogu or BD-1 or something. Something's going up there, and I'm really excited for it. I'm here for it. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That Naboo starfighter scene was absolutely orgasmic, right, Ryan? Like, that felt like Phantom Menace when he was just. I wish I was watching that in the big screen, watching it like that sound editing was terrific. I watched this episode again for the second time, man. That scene was roaring, man. It was really cool. But yeah, seriously, like, Bryce frickin' Dallas Howard sat in the director's chair once again and absolutely knocked this one out of the park. It's worth noting that she did work in season 1 of The Mandalorian, and we've seen her again and again with Star Wars, and she has gotten better and better and better. Bryce Dallas Howard fucking dunked on Robert Rodriguez with an amazing episode this week. It was awesome.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Hey, well said, Dive. And you gave me a little brain blast, because I didn't even think of that. Like, the fact that he doesn't have the astromech behind him.
Yeah.
That is a perfect spot for baby Grogu, and maybe he can grow into that bubble there a little bit. Tyler says he demands to see Grogu in the baby Mandalorian armor. Oh my god, that'd be so
we do that?
cool.
What do we all think is in that little package? That was a big fucking spear to go in a little box. Let's be honest. But what do you think is in the package? I honestly thought he was just gonna give him a little toy thing again. Is it a ball? You think it's just like a little ball?
That's what I thought. But with that being said, guys,
I think it's chainmail. I think
it's hey, high level. Darth Pooh says, wasn't her dad Opie? Yes, Ron Howard from Happy Days, who is not a bad director himself. I'm particularly fond of Apollo 13. Check it out if you guys haven't seen it. Let's just jump into favorite moments, man. This episode was filled with favorite moments. I almost couldn't not speak about the episode without talking about them. But some of the ones I wanted to highlight, we were talking about this earlier, Dives. I loved the presentation of Mando, even though it was like 10 seconds into the show. We got this really gritty, grimy butcher house. It almost looked like a horror film. The color grading, the shot composition, and then we get this silhouette through the little plastic, walkthrough. And you see Din, you see the spear, you see the helmet. It's like, yes, like that is a freaking character entrance. That was huge for me. I jumped up. I was like, yeah. That moment happened a lot, actually. Another one I wanted to highlight that I don't want to steal some thunder from you guys, so I'm gonna leave those other ones. But Paul Hyung Sung Lee, who was the X-Wing pilot.
Yeah.
Yo, this episode was filled with nods to like previous seasons and previous films, and seeing him again in the X-Wing, like, hey, weren't you on Navarro? Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, like he's like, didn't you fly a Razor Crest? And then Mando just hits the hyperspeed button. I love that. That was so fun. And again, yes, I know it's not his show, but this show is so like for me, it's like having like an extravagant amount of sundae for dessert after like a steak. It's like, do you need the sundae? Probably not, but it's delicious and it's wonderful. Give me the sundae. Give me all the toppings. Give me all the fudge. Like, I'll take it. Like,
I can't help but go back to like, the Bad Batch, or the Clone Wars did this, Rebels did this, where like they like in the meat of the show where they finally get going, they have like one or two standalone like episodes that kind of just have nothing to do with the main plot or move the story forward. That's kind of what this felt. Although we just got, instead of getting like a meaningless episode, we got a badass Mandalorian episode as a filler.
Yeah, no, this is the best filler of all time, I would say. Dives, hit us with some of your favorite moments, man.
A-Train says should have been the beginning of season 3. It felt like it. It absolutely felt like it. If you go back to my previous reviews, I was hoping we would see the birth of Din's new ship, and we got that. That was like one of my predictions, and we got that. I want Boba Fett, not Mando, sweeping in to take the spotlight. Darth says, I guess I'm not a huge fanboy, but this was so well done. I love adjacent stories that pop in. I got several, man. Din describing something as wizard was awesome. The fact that he went to, he landed with the starfighter and goes wizard. That was a really, really funny moment for me. I never thought that would be in the writing at all. I love Din.
It kind of made him seem like his inner child came out, right? Like, yeah.
When Din got rid of all of his weapons before he jumped onto that like starfighter or whatever you want to call that, the bus, and it almost makes me think of like what Batman would look like if he had to go through like security at JFK. Like, you just have to have so much weapons to like take off of his armor. The flashback to the Night of 1,000 Tears was jaw dropping, man. The shot of the KX and the Viper droids like dropping everything was like a shot of Terminator 2 in space. It was really cool. That was a really, really amazing moment. And that speaks to what I said earlier about how, the fact that we're going full in on Mandalore is going to be so freaking awesome. You touched on it, Ryan. Din flying the Naboo starfighter through that Phantom Menace racetrack, pod track, was pretty much one of the best fan service moments of this show, period. For me, I think my favorite moment is the parallel going on between the Jedis and the Mandalorians. Like, Din, like that's always my favorite part, that gray area between Jedi and Sith and all this kind of stuff. We're kind of getting into that here between like the Mandalorian people and the Jedis here. Din said that loyalty and solidarity are the opposite of the ways of the Jedi, while the Jedi forbid attachment from others. Like, I love seeing these two sides of the spectrum that are going to clearly clash. And I think there's something to be said about that, because I think they're clearly, putting the pieces of on the table about where Din is heading as a character. So that was my favorite moment. I love that little nod about the Jedi versus the Mandalorians. It's really cool.
Oh, 100%. I think the culture of Mandalore is so fascinating. I'm gonna be honest. Never mind even Mandalorian and Boba Fett. I think Mandalore itself could have a show just on all of its history and families and clans, and you have Sabine's family, you have the Vizsla family, and This is all fascinating to me. So I'd love to see that. What's up, dude?
Yeah, can I do the worst quick moment? And that is House Vizsla. I mean, the dude literally picks a fight with Din. The moment he sees that he's struggling or he's a novice with the Darksaber, he literally picks a fight with Din that second and then loses. House Vizsla already is literally responsible for the death of Mandalore and their entire people. And meanwhile, Din is talking about solidarity and like, this is the way. And meanwhile, the guy tries to like start a fight with the dude. Like, lay off, man. You got 3 people. You got 3.
Real quick, I want to let Ryan get his moments too, but real quick, What killed me is like y'all are a clan of 3, and you guys are gonna fight right now. Like, what are you guys doing? And really quick, A-Train said, as amazing as a character as he is, he can't justify what people are saying that the series is better just because of a character appearance. I just want to say to that, I don't think Book of Boba Fett is better because of Mandalorian. I just think that this was awesome. This doesn't even have anything to do with the series, like besides Fennec showing up at the end. But I liked it. Ryan, hit us with your favorite moments, man.
So my favorite moments were pretty much like the first half of the episode on the space station. Lo, you compared it to 2001, and I definitely picked up on that. But I thought it kind of looked like Montresor Spaceport from Treasure Planet. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that. But
I've never seen that.
It's amazing. But Montresor Spaceport is like this big old crescent moon looking thing, and I saw it. I'm like, oh wow, that is Montresor, and the fight in the back with the butcher shop, and I love everything about the Darksaber. I love the visual storytelling that they did with that, just showing that this thing is heavy, and they even do a thing where the head Mandalorian, the one in the Spartan type helmet, she was telling that you're fighting against it, and the more you do, the more it resists. Or I believe I'm butchering that, but I'm sure you know what I mean. It kind of reminded me of Harry Potter when it comes to the Elder Wand, and that when you don't win the Elder Wand in combat, then it will resist you subtly, but it will resist you. And so I just love how they treated the Darksaber like a big deal. And so I just love the appreciation. As far as least favorite, I think I may be seeing the forest through the trees, and I will wait, and I will have the benefit of the doubt, but not having Boba Fett in his own show, it just sticks in my craw. He literally, Fennec is in there for like 30 seconds saying, hey, Boba needs some help, and Din's like, all right, this one's on the house. Like, is he even here? Turns out, no, he's not. I even looked around the credits. He wasn't there. So it's I don't know. It just what gives. It's like being led to water and seeing that the water is prune juice. I just don't. I don't get it. What was the decision here?
And you know what, man? I want to speak to the Boba Fett fans, because I think that's why some people are really upset about this. So I hear that. I also want to say that's actually my favorite moment. I didn't even get to it because my mind's going 100 miles a minute with all the things I enjoyed. My favorite moment was seeing Din train with the Darksaber. That was beautiful. And I also appreciate how in the very beginning, you can tell he doesn't know what the hell he's doing with that thing. Like, even when he was fighting the butchers, he was like swinging around like, oh, what the hell is this thing? And then he cut himself. So I thought that was great. Just showing like his inexperience. Oh, go ahead, Debs.
Did you have like flashbacks of like Kanan Jarrus training Sabine Wren in Star Wars Rebels there?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was like that's hands down one of my favorite Star Wars sequences of all time, and that was like the first thing in my head that was like vibing on that's if you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube Sabine Wren, Kanan Jarrus lights or Darksaber training. It is just the most emotional, amazing moment for Star Wars fans. It's awesome.
One of my favorite Star Wars moments, period, in the films, shows. We got a lot of people in the comments tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Tyler over here says, Mando hurt himself using that Darksaber like me swinging the lightsaber around my room.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I've done that with I have the store-bought Darth Maul one, the plastic one. So I've hit myself several times trying to do that Ray Park shit, so I totally get that. Formal's in the house. What's up, Formal? He says this was close to the best episode in the series, but that's not a good thing when the series is about Boba.
So I agree, and you're 100%. You're not wrong at all. You're not wrong. I think now that being said, like if Boba, and we're gonna get to theories and stuff, because if you watched our previous reviews, I predicted like Boba's palace here will become a sanctuary for the Mandalorians very, very soon. If you look in our previous reviews, I say that multiple times, and I think this is what's happening. I think this is very close to happening, 100%. And I would be shocked. If Boba doesn't join Din in his journey back to kind of claim his journey of self-discovery, identity, on Mandalore. I don't think this is just kind of a throw-in episode. I think we're going to see. We'll get to the theories in a second, but I think this is cements the idea that Boba's in for the ride, and I think it's not Boba that's going to be leading Tatooine very, very long. So that's
all right.
my.
So let's kind of just grade this episode, and then we got to get into these upcoming predictions and theories. So Ryan, hit us with your grade and any final thoughts you have on the episode. I know it didn't quite work for you, but go ahead and hit us with your grade.
Yeah, like I said, I'm of two minds on this. This was a lot of fun. This had a lot of strengths. However, again, I'm trying to keep in mind that this is just part of one big story. So I will retain I will retain a sense of optimism, but I think I'm gonna have to give it this. I think I'm gonna give it like a 7, just based on false advertising. Like, you name a show, a book of Boba Fett, you expect Boba Fett there for at least a scene. What was Tamara Morrison sick that day? Like,
he's not back to tank.
No, we were supposed to be done with that.
I know. I was joking.
It had a lot of strengths, but unfortunately, in any other series related to Star Wars, it would easily be like a 9 out of 10 for me. But unfortunately, it just feels like it sticks out like a sore thumb, both in good ways and in bad ways.
So real quick, Tyler said he just wanted to see Boba ride the Rancor. I ditto that. I cannot wait. And go ahead, Dives. Go ahead.
Did anybody hear the reference? Amy Sudeikis' character referenced the Mythosaur. Did anybody catch that? That's like a giant, like Star Wars, like T-Rex. Could you imagine if you have Din riding the Mythosaur and then you have Boba riding the Rancor together? That'd be
the Forger is something like it reminded me of Avatar, something like the leader of Mandalore rode one of those things at one point, and it signified something in their culture. I gotta rewatch it, but
for me it's a 9. I give it a 9. It's probably arguably right up there with episode 2 as the best of the season. And I agree, Ryan, 100% agree. Like there's some storytelling, there's some creative decision making in this show that are definitely questionable. And it starts at the beginning when you go to the flashbacks, which I enjoyed. Like when you just kind of you had amazing lore building with the Tusken Raiders and you just kind of threw it out the window. There are definitely a lot of things in this show that, make you scratch your head. You know what? I've got COVID-19. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to vibe positively with this show right now. I thought it was top to bottom, the best of the season, led by Bryce Dallas Howard, who just kicked some serious ass in the director's chair. I've been killing Robert Rodriguez like the last couple of weeks here, and I think he has another episode, unfortunately. But Bryce Dallas Howard was awesome. You need to direct a Star Wars film, no questions asked.
Yeah, and Bryce Dallas Howard actually had a really nice, like, unbroken take of Din, like, going into that elevator, going up and going out and dropping off the bounty. And with my favorite line of the episode, you're going to need to put that on some ice.
I can bring you out in warm or bring you in cold.
Oh my God. When he said it again, I was doing the Leonardo DiCaprio, like the pointing at the screen. For me, so let me just go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was doing the thing. Doing the rap.
So for me, if this was, because I'm gonna be honest, on a fun meter, on a holy shit meter, on a shit jumping for joy meter, this is like a 10. But in relevance to Boba's story, we did take a huge detour. I'm surprised that we didn't cut away at all. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that was Bryce's choice or if it was. I think, did Favreau write this episode?
No, he writes and directs the last episode.
No, I know, but Favreau wrote the first 4 episodes. I wasn't sure if he wrote this one.
I think.
Can we vet that, Ryan?
Wasn't it nice to get off Tatooine for a second though? Like that was much needed.
1000%. I'm not that I don't like Tatooine, but it was nice to get the hell out of there and get some space shots, get some Din flying around and all that. But for me though, in this context of Boba Fett, I gotta give this episode an 8. Okay. Super fun. I loved every single second of it. But I can see where Ryan's coming from. I can see where the Boba Fett fans are coming from. And I feel for you guys. It was interesting to not even cut away to what he was doing at that time, even if it was maybe 2 or 3 scenes. I think that would have been interesting. But regardless of all that, as we get into the predictions, I just want to say the build up for these next 2 episodes are incredible. Sir Dave Filoni, one of my favorite creators in this universe, is directing the next episode. I've been holding out hope for Cad Bane. I don't know if we're gonna see it, but I have a feeling we're gonna kind of see the beginning of this conflict, and we're gonna start seeing the chessboard. We're gonna see who's on Boba's side, who's lining up on their side. We're gonna see who's lining up with the Pikes, and the development of the final battle. I think we're gonna see the foundation here. I don't know if we're gonna see any Tuskens yet, but I'm holding out hope that the Tuskens are back. At least a couple of them, and maybe the child and the warrior one, the girl warrior. I think it's a girl, right?
I think so. Her body
with
language.
that being said, Ryan, you got any theories for us? Any predictions?
I'm still sticking by my theory that the last episode is just going to be one big battle of the Dune Sea, and I think Mandalorian's going to ride in like Gandalf riding in from the east on the 6th day.
I love it so much.
On the 6th day, look to the east.
fingers crossed for that happening.
That would be fantastic, man.
Awesome.
Dives, you are our theory maestro within this circle, man. Break us with some hot takes, some interesting predictions.
I mean, the only way I can beat Gandalf in the Dune Sea is Grogu looking gangster with some Beskar chain, looking fresh. That'd be pretty.
Could be just meme Grogu with the cup of tea looking up like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. With the chain.
But so instead of the cup of tea, it's like a 40.
So great.
Man, but Dives, who else are we gonna see? Do you have any predictions on some unexpected guests here?
Well, I think Bosk is still in play. I don't know if Cad Bane is in play anymore, but I do think some extra bounty hunters, like Bosk would be. I mean, you saw on the previous episode with Black K, setting up that rivalry between those species. I think it would be a kind of an odd thing if they didn't have Bosk come in, working for the Pikes here. Obviously, you're gonna have the Mandalorians. You're gonna have the Jawas. You're gonna have the Tusken Raiders, all versus the Pikes. The biker gang, all versus the Pikes here. No doubt about it. I think it's really interesting that they're setting Din up as the next Tar Vizsla. That is a really cool thing. I think I think the Darksaber for Din is here to stay. I think he's going to train a lot with that, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see Sabine Wren. And we know that season 3 of The Mandalorian weaves in and out with Ahsoka Tano's show. We know Sabine Wren is going to be heavily in that show. Maybe Sabine Wren gives Din some pointers on how to kind of let the Darksaber. How do you phrase it? Like, instead of him using the Darksaber, they work together effectively. I think I thought.
How about Bo-Katan, my girl Bo-Katan?
Maybe. I thought for sure. This is how my head was going, that when we saw Din go up with the Starfighter, when he was going to come back, the Pikes were going to wipe out that entire garage, including the droids, including Amy Sudeikis' character. I thought that would have been a really kind of smart way to kind of integrate Din with Boba's kind of mission here against the Pikes. That would have made a lot of sense in this upcoming war, no doubt about it. I really hope for Cad Bane as that premier villain. It just doesn't feel like it. Maybe they're setting it up for season 3 if Boba tags along with Din. We'll see about that. But anyway, that's my vibe, is that I do think that the main takeaway here is that Boba is going with Din to Mandalore. And I think, they're going to have this decision to make, who, sits on that throne and leads, Tatooine and the Dune Sea. I think he's going to give it to Fennec. I really do think he's going to give it to Fennec and say, we need change. It's time to give it to the people. It's, you're a good person. I think that is going to be kind of the end result of, the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, is Fennec is the one sitting on the throne at the end. And that doesn't mean we won't see more of her later, but I think Boba's in for the ride.
That is interesting. That's something I didn't see coming. And this is why we go to you, Dives. You stir the pot, Mr. Crockpot.
Yeah.
Tyler down below says Black K is going to literally tear up Bosk.
It's going to be awesome.
As much as like it's cool to
Rip
see
off
Bob,
Twin.
I'm not ready for it. Like, oh my god, this is gonna be terrifying. Real quick before we get out of here, we are getting a little long in the show here, but I gotta ask you. It's a long shot, Dives, but what are the chances we see our girl?
I mean,
what are the chances?
I'll die.
Like, what if she shows up? Like, Din's like, hey, we got a situation. Come to Tatooine, and then boom, she's part of Boba's forces.
I mean, that's like, yeah. There's so many thoughts on this show. Like, yeah, like, did anyone think like maybe the Starfighter was the device that Obi-Wan used to get Luke to Tatooine? Like, there's so many different ways to think about this show. What if Din goes and finds Grogu training with Luke, and there's Han and Ben, and like there's like what you can like Ben's like 4 years old or some shit, and like you could have that, and then you have like Cad fucking Bane sitting in the corner just like chewing on his like straw, like nobody. He's like that awkward guy sitting in the corner, like no one wants to fuck with that guy. We don't know why he's here, but he's just watching in the distance. That'd be really cool. That'd be really fun.
Lots of wishful thinking here, but with that being said, I think we all collectively have really enjoyed this series. I think this episode is a high watermark for Star Wars television in general. It's short-lived, but it's been such a fun ride, whether it's Boba or Din Djarin. Ryan, always a pleasure having you, man. Let people know where they can find you and what you got going on for the rest of this week.
People can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, just called Ryan Cam. I'm literally 2 subscribers away from 200, so
yeah,
that I'm incredibly thankful to be getting to that milestone. Just dropped a new episode.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Just dropped a new episode of my podcast, Life in the Movies with Ryan and Jacob. We did pretty much an entire episode talking about Boomerang from Cartoon Network and a lot of old like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes types cartoons. It was so much fun. We're going to do it again someday. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be dropping my first reaction to the Coen Brothers movie Fargo. I had never seen it, and spoiler alert, it was fantastic. So that I'm going to explain it all in detail in that video. And then I'll be doing whatever it is on this podcast feed. If Dives Low says the word, I'll be there.
Hell yeah, man. And really quick, I don't want to go too long, but I don't know what they're called. Do you remember that action cartoon with like the globby looking thing, and there was a rock guy, and then there was like a barbarian guy?
Herculoids.
What was that?
The Herculoids.
That show was freaking awesome. I love that show.
Amazing.
I just couldn't remember the name of it for the longest time.
It was so good.
Thank you.
And the big old rhino with the thing coming out of its
Yes!
head that shot fireballs. Like, bro, I remember loving that so much. And Dives laughing at the two of us like, what are these people
I have no
talking
idea.
about?
Hell yeah. Hey, long live old Saturday morning cartoons, especially that era. But Dives, you're Mr. Crockpot. Break down what we got going on for the rest of the week on this channel.
Yeah. Tomorrow, I think we have a versus. I could be wrong. Scream 5 versus Scream 4. No trivia this week. I don't have the energy to do that. This ain't happening.
I'm gonna be in Disneyland, so.
Again?
Hey, man, I gotta get my money's worth. I just bought the Magic Key, which is essentially an annual pass. So I'm trying to go as many times as I can and get my money's worth.
Very nice. I'm so jealous. Other than that, we're getting ready. Congratulations to Matt, who won our Oscars Best Pictures and Noms draft. He whooped ass in this thing. Dude is a competitor to watch out for. He gets our, I think, 8th entry into our Tournament of Champions. That will go down in March-ish. Our next one is rom-coms. Rom-coms will go down in February. That's going to be a really fun draft. We haven't done it before. That draft can go a lot of different ways. There's a lot of great rom-coms out there that I love, especially. So keep a lookout for that. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So just wanted to thank all the commenters today. It was awesome. What about you, Lo? Where can we find you, man?
You can follow me on Twitter at Marcellus Durden and on Letterboxd at Marcellus Durden. Please like us on Twitter or follow us on Twitter as well at the Suit Up Geeks, and please like and subscribe down below if you like this review. We have another one coming next week and the week after. I cannot wait for the next 2 episodes. For Ryan, for Dives, this is the Suit Up Geek Fix channel, and we'll catch you next time.
Many qualities for me to dislike.